All right, let's take a look at a program that we're going to be using for our forensics module here. It's called Faces. To get at it, we go down to the search box, and if you start typing in Faces, you'll see the application pops up right there. So let's go ahead and open that up. Okay. This program is going to allow law enforcement, police officers, detectives to kind of come up with a sketch of a possible suspect. So if there was a crime committed and there was a witness, maybe they saw the person committing the crime, someone would be able to use this program and kind of come up with a quick sketch. So if they didn't have a professional sketch artist handy who could put in a ton of details, you could use this program. Now it's not going to be perfect, but it is going to allow us to come up with a kind of a basic sketch of who we're looking for. So in order to use this program, we're going to have a picture of someone up there. I found this picture of Dr. Phil. He has a very unique face. So we're going to look at how to make a Dr. Phil here in the program. Now, obviously, if there was a crime and someone witnessed it, they would have gotten maybe a quick look at him, so they wouldn't have the option of constantly looking back at a picture. But we're just going to use this to see how the program could be used here. So we're going to try to come up with a sketch of Dr. Phil. So let's take a look at the program itself. You'll see we've got a menu here, File, where we can File, where we can save, open objects. We can print them out. A lot of the stuff we're not going to worry about. The controls for the actual program are over here, and this is the work area where the sketch is going to come up with. So let's take a look at some of the buttons, some of the options we've got. You'll see our first one, they start us right off with hair. Okay. Now with Dr. Phil, there's not a lot of hair here. So we're probably going to be on these first few pages. And you notice if I hit the next page button, there's tons of options for hair. So Dr. Phil doesn't have much, so let's go back to that first page. And maybe one of these two options. I mean, it's kind of iffy. This is a little more, so I'm going to go with this one. When you do select the hair there's sometimes some other options. So this can kind of spread it out and enlarge it. This will shrink it down. This is the tone there, so we can go to lighter, and I'm definitely going to go lighter with his hair here. And we can move it up and down, and that will relate to the whole face itself as we go. So let's just start off with that hair there, and we'll move on to our next section, the head shapes. So you can see kind of bulbous here. So let's kind of look through, see if we can come up with ones that look like his head. And again, we can move it up and down. There's nothing for making it bigger, but I'm going to see if there's anything a little more bulbous. Yeah, that one's not too bad. The ears are a little higher, so I kind of like this one. Maybe, nah. Let's see, was there anything on this page where they're hidden away? I'm going to go back. And this one will take you to the one you had previous, so you can kind of compare back and forth. This isn't too bad. And again, I can move it up because his hairline, looks like that's as high as the ears go. But if I come back to the hair, okay, and that I'm going to move down, okay, and maybe make it a little, no, I'm going to keep it that same size. So not perfect. The hair is actually back here, and it comes down here. So again, you're going to have to kind of work with it. It's not a perfect setup, but it is going to give us something there. So I'm going to stick it right there. I wish this hair was behind the head there, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and move on to the eyebrows. And again, as always, you start off with a small amount, thin pencil thin, and we can easily get thicker and larger and stuff like that. His aren't super large, but there's definitely something there. And you'll see you have different shapes to them. So each eyebrow has different shapes. I don't think there's much on the edge. So it's probably one more like that. Let's see if there's anything. Looks like these are a lot more hair there. I don't like, ooh, I hit this one. Not bad. That's actually a little better, but it's actually more, I wish they were bushier. Let's see here. Maybe something. No, I like the last one. Let's see. Let's go to this page here. That's not too bad. Maybe can I make them? No, I don't want to make them that much lighter. Let's go back to that one. Can I move them up? Yeah, I can. And what is this? Let's see, move closer together. Oh, there we go. So some newer options on here and shrink them down, it looks like. That's not too bad. Not perfect, but not too bad. We'll go with that. So we do get some other options. When we pick a different category here, this does change a little bit too. So that's kind of interesting. Let's move on to our eyes. A lot of white here, so and rounder. So let's move to something that's probably the farther we go, I think we're going to get a little bit whiter. And again, we can add the details, the lines, and everything else a little later. So let's not worry about that so much, because that's probably going to help it come in a lot better. Really looking for something rounder. Maybe there. That's not too bad, I think, especially once we start adding the details. So let's kind of go with that for now. And again, we could always come back to these categories, change them up. We'll just kind of, like I said, I want to kind of come up with a basic face. Longer, a little bigger. So let's, as I scan through here, see if I can find something we like. And we can move it up, so that one's not too bad. Let's see if there's anything a little better. Maybe that's a little better, and I can even move it back down. Can you flip it? Because it kind of tilts. I wish this one was flipped the other way. Now, some options like here, you can kind of flip it, so I was hoping this would kind of go that way. Let's see. Maybe that's the one I'm on. Let's see, we'll look over here too. That's not a bad option. The one we've got now, not perfect, but I'm not seeing anything that much better. Nothing that's really thrilling me. All right, we'll stick with that for now. Let's move on to our lips. Again, he's got a mustache there, so we're not seeing much as far as lips. They're kind of thin at the bottom. Maybe a little bit. It could be this one. This one might not be bad, because we're going to throw that mustache. Let's go with that, and let's throw the mustache. That's kind of, I think, one of the defining characteristics here of a Dr. Phil face. No, not good enough. Not bad, but do we got better? Let's see. And again, we can move these up. That's not too bad. Let me see what else we got here. I like that one a little better. Do I like this one better? No. That's a little better. Because this is a little longer, but it's shorter, but fills in a little more. That's not too bad. Let's see if we go lighter with it. I guess we could. There's a lot of gray in there, I guess. It's a tough call on. We definitely don't want to go that dark. All right, I'm going to keep it on the lighter side there on that one. Not bad, not bad. Let's go ahead and, there's no beard, so let's go back to chins. We left that off. And obviously, really rounded here, so I'm assuming probably farther in we go, we're going to get a little, there we go. Here's, well, that's a little too much. That's, no. And again, all these you can kind of move up and down to, let's see. Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell how much neck is there. Let's see. No. Let's go back maybe one. And again, this is one of those things where you kind of just keep clicking on it. Nope, way too much. Neck. All right, I'm going to bring us back. I would like it to kind of go wider at the bottom. That's not bad, but I think the neck is too much. So again, even here you can see it's kind of hard, and we've got a picture in front of us, so you can imagine what someone has to come up with just from memory. So it definitely tough to do, I would say. Let's see if we move this down. No. This isn't bad, but I need, let's see if I move this. Huh. I wonder if we can rearrange the ears, because the ears have been pushed into the back. If I come back up to, wow, where have I lost our eyes? All right, I guess that's. Yeah, let's go back to the jaw. I'm not finding one I like. That's not bad, but this one isn't bad. Let's bring this down. Yeah, I wish we put the ears. You'd think this would pop on top of the ears, but it doesn't, so we'll just... Is there one that... Yeah, see, one of them covers up the ears, the other doesn't. Let's go with this, because it does kind of cover up the ear over there. Even though it's a little much, I think, is because his head obviously is bigger than that. Maybe that one? No. All right, let's go with this, and then we're going to add some more detail. So this kind of the basic shapes. Let's get into detail. Off to the right side, okay, over here we've got forehead lines and stuff like that. It looks like there's a bandana. We don't need that, though. He's got some lines. They're not a ton, I mean, but we could add some. Let's see here. So it's just kind of going through. There we go. I wish we can get a really more bulbous head. His head wider at the top. But again, like I said, there are limitations to the program. It is what it is. A lot of eye lines there. So let's kind of go towards the end probably and see what we got. Oh, there we go. That's, yep, I think that's going to probably be the one. And again, we can move it up. There we go. Starting to come together here. And let's head to smile lines a little bit there, yeah. Let's see what they can look like. Let's see. Oh, there's, yeah, there we go. That's not bad. I don't think they're that deep. That's a pretty good one. Do we got other lines? Yeah. No. He doesn't have that much lines there. I'm going to actually, maybe a little bit there. I mean, I wish we could put some lines in here. Can we do that? This is the chin line. There was this chin lines, yeah. Yeah. There's a little bit of a divot there, so I'm going to go with that one. He's still looking a little younger in this picture than he is in here, so I wish we'd add some more details. What else we got here? We've got heads, so again, headwear, obviously hats, glasses. We've got moles, so any distinguishing characteristics. I don't think he has any on, but let's see here. So if we did put one on here, you'll see you can kind of move it around. So that's one of those things, like a really just if you saw a suspect, they had a mole, this is something that could really stick out. He doesn't, I'm not noticing anything. There's like a little divot right here, so I don't know if that's not really defined as a mole, but I'm going to put that in there just because, actually I wonder if we can put it lighter. Yeah, there we go. All right, we'll go with that. Just because there's something there. It's not a mole so much as it looks like a divot there. We'll go with that one. Let's round this out. Scars. I wouldn't say there's any scars. I see a lot of lines everywhere. Piercings. He's not wearing any earrings. Okay. And tattoos, really. That's kind of weird. They've got the tattoos on here with some very strange designs. So the odds of seeing something like that are very rare. So that's a weird one to have on there. But again, this gives us a little, at least an introduction to using the program. If we had, like I said, if we really spent a lot of time, we would probably come up with a much better likeness of them. But again, I just wanted to give you a little introduction to the program that we'll be using here in class. So that is a quick intro to the FACES program.